What does it all mean? On April 8, 2024, a truly extraordinary event will grace the skies, a total solar eclipse of rare significance. This isn't just any eclipse, it's a celestial occurrence that holds deep implications, particularly for the 2024 elections in the United States and Israel. Some even speculate that it could signify the beginning of the end times. In today's video, I'll delve into the true significance behind this celestial phenomenon. Trust me, the revelations at the end of this video will astonish you. Throughout history, there have been connections drawn between significant celestial events and prophecies about the end times, as mentioned in various parts of the Bible. Luke 21:25, for instance, speaks of signs in the sun, moon, and stars as precursors to the end times. When rare astronomical events occur, it often prompts reflection on whether these are indicators of significant impending events. To truly grasp the meaning behind phenomena like solar or lunar eclipses, it's crucial to consider historical context, explore biblical references, and analyze current global events. As Ecclesiastes 1:9 wisely states, "What has been will be again, what has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun." In other words, history tends to repeat itself, and understanding these patterns can offer insights into potential future events. What has happened already? It's remarkable how God's character remains steadfast and unwavering throughout time, from yesterday to today and into tomorrow. This means that God continues to communicate and address sin and nations just as He always has throughout history and as depicted in the Bible. We can see recurring patterns, especially when it comes to a nation's tendencies towards idolatry and sin, which God consistently confronts. In various instances throughout the Bible, prophets addressed Israel's idolatry and sin, often accompanied by specific signs and warnings of impending consequences. Reflecting on Revelation chapter 6, we encounter symbolism in the four horsemen, representing God's judgment upon nations. First, there's a figure symbolizing conquest or leadership, leading to division and global unrest. This is followed by war, stirring up conflict and disrupting peace. Subsequently, famine ensues, bringing economic hardship and agricultural struggles. Finally, death arrives, spreading plague and disease. While these events unfold on a global scale, they echo recurring patterns seen throughout history in the Bible. Such signs often emerge in response to a nation's sins and idolatries, illustrating the cyclical nature of divine intervention over time. For example, God appointed Nebuchadnezzar, the Babylonian conqueror, to bring judgment not only upon Israel, but also on neighboring nations like Egypt, Assyria, Moab, and even the Philistines and Phoenicians in the Gaza Strip area. Before the sieges, Jeremiah the prophet mentioned severe plague and famine devastating the land for years, weakening the nations in readiness for Babylon's advance. Jeremiah 38:2 conveys the Lord's message, stating that those who stay in the city will face death by the sword, famine, and disease, while those who surrender will live. Reflecting on recent events since 2020, we've witnessed all four signs: plague, famine, economic hardships, and widespread civil unrest, including riots and protests. Additionally, the specter of war with Russia has emerged. These occurrences haven't just impacted America, but the entire world. These events serve as potent reminders of the prevalent sin and idolatry in nations and signal God's judgment on the earth. While it doesn't necessarily mean it's the end times, the signs are undeniable and suggest that significant changes may be drawing closer. These two signs explain everything. Indeed, these signs point towards judgment, indicating that there are reasons behind them. There must have been warnings or indications preceding these judgments because God never acts without first revealing His intentions to His prophets. Now, let's explore the significance of the sun and moon in prophetic signs. Did you know that in biblical prophecy, the moon consistently represents Israel, while the sun symbolizes the Gentile nations? It's fascinating. In the book of Genesis, it's revealed that the sun, moon, and stars were created on the fourth day. Before that, light already existed on Earth along with vegetation such as trees and flowers, which were created on the third day. It's interesting to note that trees and plants rely on sunlight and rain, yet the sun itself wasn't brought into existence until the fourth day. This highlights the crucial role of the sun and moon in sustaining Earth's climate and ecosystems. Without them, there would be no ocean currents, no climate, and consequently, no rain. In ancient times, rain wasn't common until the days of Noah's flood. Genesis 2, 5, 6 explains that there were no shrubs or plants yet because God hadn't sent rain, relying instead on streams that emerged from the earth to water the ground. But why did God create plants on the third day before the sun, moon, or rain even existed? It turns out that the sun and moon had a different purpose altogether. Genesis 1:14-19 describes how God created these celestial bodies to separate day from night and to serve as markers for sacred times, festivals, and seasons. They were meant to govern the passing of days, years, and the timing of important events. These celestial signs hold particular significance in biblical prophecy, especially concerning the end times. Joel 2:30-31 talks about wonders in the heavens and on earth, including the darkening of the sun and the turning of the moon to blood, signaling the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. This imagery symbolizes impending turmoil, with blood representing war and judgment, while smoke and fire signify volcanic eruptions and earthquakes. Essentially, these celestial events serve as prophetic indicators, as Jesus himself foretold of earthquakes, wars, and other upheavals as precursors to significant events. Fascinating, isn't it? We've seen this all before. The connection between the 2014 to 2015 blood moon tetrad and Israel is quite intriguing. During this period, there were 4 total lunar eclipses, also known as blood moons, happening closely together, perfectly aligning with 4 significant Jewish festivals. This phenomenon, known as the blood moon tetrads, puzzled many, leaving the true significance of this celestial event shrouded in mystery even today. In symbolic terms, the number 4 often represents the universal authority of God's word. Moreover, the moon symbolizes God's watchful protection over the nation and people of Israel. The eerie red hue of the eclipses was interpreted by some as a foreboding sign of imminent bloodshed, hinting at looming judgment. Spanning a span of 2 years, the eclipse's occurrence raised eyebrows, as the number 2 in biblical symbolism is linked with division. This was seen by some as a cautionary signal regarding the potential partition of the land of Israel, referencing Joel 3:1-2. The Bible recounts a crucial event triggering a 7-year tribulation period and the judgment of nations. It describes a time when God will convene all nations in the valley of Jehoshaphat for judgment, particularly for their ill treatment of Israel, including scattering its people and dividing its land. This resonates with the current geopolitical landscape, where nations seem to be carving up Israel's land, as hinted in the book of Joel. Furthermore, the Bible pinpoints specific nations responsible for this division, notably Tyre, Sidon, and Philistia. This underscores the intricate connection between celestial phenomena, biblical prophecy, and geopolitical events, sparking contemplation and debate among scholars and believers alike. The truth about what will happen to Israel. What you're about to learn next is quite intriguing. The area known today as the Gaza Strip was once home to the Philistines, who are now commonly referred to as Palestinians. The term Palestine originated from the Romans, who renamed Israel to Philistia after the Philistines, following the destruction of the Second Temple in Jerusalem. This renaming was intended as a mockery of both God and the Israelites. The Palestinians play a central role in the proposed 2-state solution between them and Israel, a concept also mentioned in biblical prophecies, including those by the prophet Daniel regarding the Antichrist and a 7-year peace treaty involving Israel. Tyre and Sidon were regions inhabited by the Phoenicians, renowned for their trade expertise. The prophet Ezekiel mentions the king of Tyre, seen as a precursor to the Antichrist. After the Greek and Roman conquests of Tyre and Sidon, the Phoenicians migrated to Greece and Rome. Interestingly, the entire continent of Europe was named by the Phoenicians after Europa, the daughter of a famous Phoenician king. Today, the European Union, United Nations, and even America have ties to these ancient Phoenician regions. Modern nations linked to these ancient regions are anticipated to play a role in shaping and promoting the 7-year peace treaty prophesied in the Bible, which will be confirmed by the Antichrist. Understanding the significance of this is crucial for grasping its implications for the future. In 2017, 2 significant and rare events occurred in America. Firstly, on August 21st, there was the remarkable occurrence of the Great American Solar Eclipse, visible across the entire nation. However, an eclipse alone doesn't hold much meaning unless it aligns with other events in biblical and Israeli contexts. The following month, on September 23rd, another exceptionally rare event unfolded involving the alignment of stars and constellations known as the Revelation 12 sign. On this date, the constellations of Virgo and Leo, along with Mercury, Mars, Venus, Jupiter, the Sun, and the Moon, aligned in a unique way resembling the depiction of the Revelation 12 sign in the Bible. What will happen in 2024 is shocking everyone. Understand that this celestial alignment has only happened twice before in history. Now, here's where things get even more astonishing. Keep a close watch on these constellations as they will hold significance once again in relation to the 2024 eclipse. The biblical Revelation 12 forewarns us about the clash between the Antichrist, referred to as the beast and the saints, as well as the resurgence of Israel and Jerusalem as a nation. Both of these occurrences serve as a serious warning to the United States, particularly regarding Israel and the potential division of land. 3.5 years later, symbolizing how this division might occur with the Antichrist, from August 2017 to January 28, 2020, President Donald Trump proposed his deal of the century known as Peace to Prosperity. This proposal advocated for a 2-state solution, allocating 70% of Israel's land, including the eastern half of Jerusalem, to the Palestinians, the ancient adversaries of Israel, for their own statehood. Following this, 3 months later, the pandemic struck, causing widespread devastation worldwide. This was followed by significant economic hardships, civil unrest, conflicts with Russia, and the departure of leadership for both Netanyahu and Trump in 2020. Surprisingly, instead of witnessing the anticipated signs of the 4 horsemen, we observed their signs occurring in reverse order. Furthermore, as a consequence of these events, we have witnessed the formation of alliances like Gog and Magog, primarily through OPEC oil nations aligning with BRICS alliances, including China. These alliances are effectively challenging the dominance of the US dollar in trade, leading to significant inflation and the looming collapse of the US banking system. Shockingly, all of these events point to a significant shift in global dynamics. The Bible predicted it all. This is terrifying. The Bible has foretold events regarding Israel and the end times, with significant occurrences projected to unfold by April 8, 2024. 7 years after the initial eclipse in August 2017, another eclipse is anticipated. This forthcoming eclipse, visible across the United States, will form a distinctive X shape across the country. Unlike the 2017 eclipse, this one will only cover the eastern half of the nation and will take place 7 months before the 2024 presidential elections. Intriguingly, similar to the Revelation 12 sign, the constellation of Leo, symbolizing Judah and Jerusalem, will align with the solar eclipse on April 8, 2024. This constellation, associated with the Lion of Judah representing Jesus, holds symbolic significance. So, what does all of this signify in biblical prophecy? The number 7 often symbolizes completion, indicating the conclusion of a cycle. In this context, it refers to the completion of Israel's appointed 70 weeks of judgment, represented by 7-year cycles. This eclipse isn't necessarily a warning about future events, but rather a reflection of past occurrences connected to the future. The X shape formed by the eclipse reminds us of the Hebrew letter Tav, symbolizing a mark or a seal. This letter is significant as it's only used twice in the Bible, including in Ezekiel chapter 9, where it represents a seal of protection placed on those who grieved over the sins of the first Jewish temple before its destruction by Babylon. Similarly, it echoes the marking of doorposts during the first Passover in Exodus and foreshadows the mark of the beast and the seal of protection over the 144,000 witnesses during the 7-year tribulation period. Therefore, the Tav mark on the United States signifies both protection and judgment, particularly concerning the division of the land of Israel.